Geeta Iyengar rightly said that knowledge has a beginning but no end. And if you are interested in yoga, then you definitely know about her. This same statement is applied in SSB because sometimes we feel that there is a lot of thing to read and we could not summarize it, and that is why we could not perform in the final 5 days. And if you are one of them, then this video is for you. While working in certain institution and interacting with their student, I came across several doubts and I tried to mention it here ताकि मैं आप सभी के डाउट्स सॉल्व कर सकूं. इन जीडी एंड लेक्चरेट स्टूडेंट्स आर लाइक मैम जीडी के लिए अलग से पढ़ना है क्या, लेक्चरेट के इतने सारे टॉपिक्स कैसे कंपाइल करें, कहाँ से पढ़ें, हाउ टू रीड, व्हाट टू रीड एंड फ्रॉम वेयर टू रीड. इन साइक न्यू आइडियाज़ नहीं आ रहे, इनोवेशन एंड आइडियाज़ के लिए सिर्फ न्यूज़पेपर्स सही है या कहीं और सोर्स भी हमें पढ़ना ज़रूरी है. एंड इन इंटरव्यू करंट अफेयर इज़ become very tedious task because at last moment we could not afford it. Simultaneously, we also know that even a good orator could not deliver a good content in systematic manner. So what is the way ahead? अगर मैं थोड़े टाइम के लिए बोलूँ कि आप लेक्चरेट को अपने दिमाग में रखिएगा एंड क्यों मैं बताऊंगी बाद में. लेक्चरेट वी हैव टू स्पीक फॉर 3 minutes and in 3 minutes what we do, we try to make our leads are what on the themes and on the pointers on which we are going to deliver our topics. It might be the history, the current scenario, the government initiative, and at last the way ahead. Keeping this in our mind, what we can do, let's try to understand with one example. This is the example, and this is way of compiling notes and things which brings synergy. And we can also say that doing a way of smart work. This is my way of doing things. If you feel any other way, just let us know. I took this topic, woman empowerment, and I tried to make the leads like history, paradox, why woman empowerment is important, the government's initiative and steps, and at last you can add your way ahead. So I try to compile the things within two page. On the first page, I try to find out because I always try to prefer start my lecturate with certain statement and certain scenario which brings attention to the audience. So I wrote down the Malala Yousafzai statement that we cannot succeed when half of us are held back. And while reading the newspaper, I also came across that how U-shaped model was given by the Claudia Golden in the recent 2023 Nobel Prize in Economics. So I just mention it, but all the scenario what the model was talked about, I have in my mind, and that is why I always prefer and convey students that try to write down the pointers in your notes so that while reading you can easily understand and you will deliver your notes in your own way rather than making the another book. Simultaneously in the one page I have content to speak more than 15 minutes. How I can do it? Because if you can observe and see that in government steps and initiative, I try to diversify my content in sense of BCCI gender pay parity. This is one of the sports way of where they took steps for women empowerment. This is political, that how women representation is ensuring the 33% of seats, and simultaneously internationally that how CEDAW Convention on Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, where India is also a signatory. So I try to bring and showcasing the same issue with multiple aspects and dimension to cover and make my notes holistically prepared. Now, why I leave this space blank? This is for updating myself current affairs. Whenever I am reading newspaper, I keep it my notebook with myself and I try to keep on adding things which I found relevant. And this is also helpful for me to prepare for my interview. Afterwards, I try to add here the real life stories on women empowerment. You can find out many sources like newspaper. You can read story about a real life example on women, our women who participated in our history, and simultaneously all the nominees which we have for Padma Shri. So I came across the story of Apni Saheli in Gujarat, where how they harvest vegetable spoilage, and to find out an alternative, they started supply chain to convert it into the mango pickle and millets too. You can make it the millet flours. And I also try to write down that how women entrepreneurs of Khana Khajana having the same action or try to make it something food processing. Simultaneously, many startups like Apni Poshak, where women was empowered and started their own business. While reading those stories, I try to find out what action they took while building their businesses. So that is the compilation I have. But compiling the things is not only the solution. We need to implement it. We have our base. Now we have to learn that how we can implement all our knowledge, ideas, innovation, and data which we collected, and we also try to inculcate in our daily life, because we know that it is a test of our personality. Try to understand. This is our first page, and this is helpful for our GD and lecturate. My lecturate topic is already prepared. Now, whenever topic will come, I know that I need to recall my leads and I know what to deliver as a content. In GD, whatever topic will come, this facts and figure is our the base where we can participate it. Second, this current affairs is helpful for our interview, and this is helpful for our psych. But writing the story and action is not the only solution. Perception and relevance is more important. So let's try that how after writing and compiling the things we can know the implementation of it. हमने दो स्टोरी लिखी थी, अपनी सहेली की, खाना खजाना की, and अपनी पोशाक की, and we also mention certain action here. See how I can implement it. This is the first story, and in this first story this man is in action, and हमें पता चल गया कि यार ये लोग कुछ डिस्कस कर रहे हैं. So how I will start that, I first try to design and give him certain designation, certain profession. Might be he is a sarpanch, village sarpanch, or head of certain committee in the village. So he envisioned the idea of value addition to vegetable to convert them into the pickle after listing the problems of the village having the post harvest loss. Similarly, the same idea is implementing here in the second story. For example, let's assume that he is our central character, might be the name of Kashish, and he is an entrepreneur, and he found that his friend is in deep thought, and he came to know about his father's post harvest loss and drought like situation in the climate change, and that is why they brought and came up with the idea of millet production and startup of food processing unit. So at last the point is that you should know whatever you read, you have to implement it. And if you are not implementing the things and you are just keep on reading things, that means it's a wastage of knowledge. But one caution, while watching this video, if your SSB is within a week, don't implement this. This is a approach which requires around 15 to 30 days to prepare holistically. So keep this in your mind. There is one surprise for those who are our patient listener and who watched this video till the last. Your patience should be rewarded, and that is why there is one PDF. If you click on our Telegram channel, there is one PDF of all the major professions which you can utilize while writing your story in TAT. One more thing, there is one homework, because at last we are your well-wisher. There is one homework what you can do, that you can download and print out this profession and try to find out that how these professions are bringing change in the society. For example, in the health worker, and you can find out that might be they are doing health camps, to expand their reach to the people who are living in the hilly area or higher terrain, and might be the rural workers like asha workers, that how they are helping the women in delivery or whatsoever. Try to find out that how these professions are impacting and making our nation brighter. Thank you for all for listening us, and simultaneously, if you understood that approach, try to implement it. And before implementing, if you find this video helpful, try to share with your friend. Thank you.